So, hello and welcome to this second free live call where I will be sharing the additional information that came through, it will be last week now. This information provides more of an understanding of what the different initiations that people will be experiencing during this period of initiation, as well as some of the guidance on what some of the scenarios that have been discussed and what we might be prepared to experience and witness over the coming months and years may look like. I'm just going to shut everything off that can go ping. Cool. All right. So again, at the end of the transmission, there's going to be a channeled healing activation. For those unable to attend the live call, the video will be available to everyone on my YouTube channel, as I fingers crossed live streaming now, and also I will edit the video and put some sound to the activation as I did with the last one, and send the details out on my email list, and also put that up on my YouTube channel as well. As you can tell, I am still fairly new to using YouTube as a live streaming service, so please bear with me with these transmissions, and this is new for me. Please like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel. So in a recent conversation with Peter Tong, he asked me what information I'd been getting about what is to come, as it were, whether I'd received any guidance of a predictive nature. And I told him that I'd been so focused on the renovation of my house and therefore working through my own personal revelations and subsequently working on myself that I hadn't really been channeling very much for the collective recently. And this is often the case. We all have periods of healer, heal thyself, where our focus is guided to our own personal journey, and rightly so that when we're ready, we can share the wisdom and guidance received and integrated with the collective to assist them to fast forward, as it were, through those lessons and experiences that we've undertaken. However, whether it be that it was divinely timed for me to start coming back out of my inner work and start sharing or not, or his question just triggered these channelings as the questions were raised in my field of consciousness, and therefore the information started to come through. Now, following the previous live stream, a question was also asked and raised in an email regarding the gap that I mentioned, and this is also going to be further explained in this transmission. So when I started channeling, the information that was flowing to me and through me was regarding the different types of initiations mentioned right at the end during the previous transmission, the initiations of fire, earth, air, and water. So this was basically what came through. The initiation of fire involves loss. And this could be experienced as loss of loved ones, loss of roles, loss of jobs and or identity. Initiations of fire are where things are quite literally burned away. Things are destroyed or removed from your life experience. And it's quite an intense and challenging initiation where at times you literally feel as though you are walking through fire. And my personal journey, my life, seems to have focused for the most part on this initiatory pathway. So it's one that I'm personally very familiar with. But we will choose to experience each initiatory process to a greater and lesser degree. And again, all is perfect and imperfect timing. As one initiatory process may be more familiar to you from, say, previous incarnation experiences, and although they're intense within themselves and the individual and personal experiences they provide, other less familiar ones may seem to affect you on a much deeper level. The initiation of water is associated with the initiation of your emotional body. And again, all initiations can be felt to a greater or lesser extent, and everybody's individual process and experience is going to be different. And this initiation can feel just as intense as the initiation of fire, especially for those who've avoided their emotions and never allowed themselves to own or express them. There can be a sense of feeling out of control, and this initiation can impact on relationships as people progress to the point where they've dealt with the already blocked and trapped emotions stored within their fields, but also allow their emotions to be acknowledged and realized in each moment. The initiation of air involves the intellectual mind, our thoughts, our belief patterns, and mental constructs. And again, for those whose mental constructs and belief patterns are really fixed, when we traverse the path of initiation of air, this can create great chaos for an individual as they are being called to kind of strip away everything that they thought and knew, and engage in new ideas, new beliefs and truths. And we can see this initiation playing out in the wider collective consciousness at this time. For those souls who have chosen this path, they can be faced with the sudden realization that everything that they thought to be true was a lie, and therefore feel quite lost in what is actually real and what is not real. For each path of initiation, the world of the individual experiencing it can be rocked to its very core, its foundations. And in some cases, this is the whole point of the experience. Our experience of the paths of initiation are determined by our ability to be open to them and allow our ability to be fluid and flexible rather than fixed. And finally, the initiation of earth is associated with the physical. Our physical symptoms, accidents which change the physical landscape and our physical experience. And physical ailments, including life-impacting diagnoses, provide an opportunity for us to take certain measures in alignment with our truth, to allow ourselves to really shift. This initiation is no less intense, and in fact it can be extremely intense depending on how we view illness, disease and injury, and how we view changes to our physical form. And I can attest to that, having been paralysed back in '96. That was a massive initiation of earth for me. However, I feel that my experience of it was probably very different to a lot of other people's, because I was quite flexible. I was aware of the spiritual aspect of the experience, and was allowing myself to go with it, to flow with it, and to take from it that the gifts that were being offered, the opportunities for change that were being offered to me with regards to, other things in my life, my life experiences, my relationships and things like that. I was just checking the chat then. So many people have and will continue to experience what we call ascension symptoms, physical symptoms and changes within our bodies brought on by the raising of your frequency and the light work that you're engaged in. And I know some of you in the audience have been walking this path of initiation for many years. And we can look upon the current viral situation that we have all been affected by to some extent as part of the collective experience of the path of Earth as an initiation. Many channels were predicting something happening, an event of some kind that would kick off, as it were, the Great Awakening, the shift in consciousness that had been foretold in many ancient prophecies and channelings. But no one knew exactly how it would look in the physical. And I remember back in January 2020 thinking, so this is what it is, and really seeing the whole experience as a golden opportunity for everyone. And as with all initiations, it's our ability to surrender to the process and follow our inner guidance that assists us to traverse them with ease and grace. Now, I am aware, because, Spirit, for whatever reason, has brought into my awareness some quite severe apocalyptic views being shared on places like BitChute and Rumble and Telegram, stating that, you know, we're going to be seeing and experiencing massive amounts of people passing away over the next few months and years, possibly in the billions, following the rollout of the current mandated treatment. Now, I'm going to avoid certain words as YouTube doesn't like them. The concept that is being shared, though, is that anyone who's taken the experimental medical treatment, regardless of how many opportunities that they've partaked in the treatment, 1, 2, or more, will be passing over in the course of the next 3 years. However, this is not the information that I am being provided by Spirit. What I'm being shown is, in a way, a similar experience, and yet the reversal of that which I experienced as a child coming into incarnated form. So when I landed in the body, I landed with the knowing of who we are as more than these physical forms, and being very much connected to the knowing of myself as the wider dimensional aspects of myself, the wider awareness of the interdimensional existence that we all experience to a greater or lesser degree of conscious awareness, and basically thinking and feeling, where the hell am I? And who are these people? You know, I felt as though I'd been dropped onto a planet of aliens. I couldn't relate to anybody. I just couldn't get where they were coming from. I didn't understand how their minds worked, how they behaved in the way that they behaved. I just didn't get it at all. And I felt much more comfortable being around nature, being around the trees and animals, and communicating and relating to trees and animals. And I was convinced that I'd been swapped at birth and that my true family was out there somewhere. And I was wondering when they were going to come and pick me up. But after a few years, the reality of my situation sank in. And I chose to adapt myself to fit in with my wider energetic surroundings. In order to survive, I dimmed my light and I adapted. I locked those aspects of me that were different to other people, my ability to heal, my ability to channel, my claircognizance and clairsentience. I locked it all away inside of me so that I could fit in and pretend to be normal, to pretend to be like everybody else. However, subsequently, I've realized those other aspects of me were never completely switched off. I was just not outwardly showing them, and yet I was utilizing them from a more hidden perspective, using my intuition to read the people around me, to find out what they wanted from me, so that I could therefore provide them with that and therefore fit in. In fact, I prided myself on being a chameleon, and I prided myself on the fact that nobody really knew me. And ultimately, I didn't even know myself, but that's a different story and a different part of my journey. But there was a time when I was extremely proud of the facade that I was maintaining. However, I was still aware of the gap, the vibrational, a frequential gap that existed between myself and those around me, and that there was a price to pay for my decision to dim my light, as all actions have consequences and all choices have consequences. And the latter part of my life has been spent unraveling these consequences and allowing myself to come back into alignment with my truth and my true frequency. And that journey starts with acknowledging the truth of who we are and allowing ourselves to be unapologetically who we are. But coming back to that energetic space that I landed in, where the Earth's frequency was so much lower from a base level perspective to my own, my personal base level frequency, that it felt so alien to me, and I felt as if I'd landed on a completely alien landscape. That, in effect, is what we're moving into. But it's not going to be the few light workers who came into incarnation over the last few decades, well, I say decades, but we're looking at probably anything up to 70 or 80 years, because there's been a number of waves of light workers coming in and doing the preparation work in some way, shape or form to raise the base frequency of the planetary consciousness. So previously, the base frequency of the planetary consciousness, the planetary vibration of the Earth, was far lower than the base frequency, the physical base frequency of the light workers coming in, which was why it's such a struggle to exist, to be here, and why so many possibly left early through possible suicide, accidents, illnesses, or like myself, dimmed their light to fit in, because it was felt too hard. That gap in frequency was too great. And there were many times for me where I would have happily left the planet. And there were times where I consciously desired and requested to be recalled and taken back and allowed to go home. But again, that wasn't part of my path. And I truly do believe that if it's not your time, it will not happen. We always have a choice, and yet there is this overarching choice that's already been made, as it were, from a soul perspective, from a higher vibrational perspective. The aspect of us that chose to come here in the first place, and who you could say has a mission or a purpose to fulfill. And so from that perspective, it can and does override the free will choice of the incarnated being. So this frequency shift, this change of frequency, this gap, is what I've seen happening in the future. The Earth's frequency, the base frequency of the planetary consciousness, is raising through the work and the sheer number of light workers currently incarnated. All of you guys who are listening in, whether live or on the replay, who are holding a different frequency. And whether that be through the work that you're actively doing, the spiritual work, or any personal and individual spiritual evolution or enlightenment process that you're undertaking, or whether it be that you've just come in with a much higher frequency, as with the children that are now being born. So the children that are being born and have been born over, say, the last decade or so, are coming in at a much higher frequency than those being born in, say, the 50s and 60s. There were far fewer of us coming in back then. We were like the forerunners, as it were. And I would say that our frequencies, albeit much higher than those incarnated at the time, and the base frequency of the planetary consciousness itself, were vibrating and are vibrating at a much lower frequency than those children that are being born right now. So the shift is happening because the actual base frequency of the Earth is raising, and it's powerful. It can be seen and felt with the Schumann resonance. There's times where, it really spikes. It spikes into the 100 hertz, as opposed to the kind of the baseline of the 7 to 9 hertz that we've probably lived with and experienced over the last few decades. And so those people who are very much caught up in and attached to the frequencies of the base level as it was in the 30s, 40s, 50s and 60s are really going to be feeling the discomfort that I and many others felt when we incarnated with a large gap, as it were, between our baseline frequency and that of the planetary frequency. They're going to be feeling like they no longer fit. They no longer match the baseline frequency. They no longer get it, as it were. And it may well feel as though it's time for them to go, as I did. They may choose to exit stage left because the gap has and will become too great. And it therefore becomes too uncomfortable to maintain a status quo. The gap in frequency, when felt, causes a lot of emotional and mental discomfort, as well as physical. So that's, in a way, what I've seen moving forward from this now, this shifting of the baseline frequency, this raising of the baseline frequency, causing this out of syncing, as it were, this uncomfortable gap between the majority of people's frequency and that of the planet. We can only maintain incarnation and existence within a physical form when we're in a particular range of the baseline frequency of whatever the lowest vibration is. We can't be too far away from it. Our lowest vibrational rate cannot be too far from the lowest vibrational rate of the physical realm that we exist within. That has been shared with me by Spirit over the last 2 or 3 years now. So for those children that are coming in now, whose frequency is of a much higher level, and the light workers who've been doing this work to raise their frequency within the physical form, and hats off to everybody who's been doing this, because it's pretty much one of the hardest things to do. So, kudos to everybody out there who's been on this path of enlightenment, as it were. Really, honestly, give yourselves a massive pat on the back and really appreciate yourselves for the work that you've actually been doing just through existing in and creating this frequency differential. So the fact that these high vibrational children are now able to come in and hold this baseline frequency within this physical realm is entirely due to the work done by all of the light workers who have come before, who have consistently worked to raise their vibration or maintain the higher baseline frequency that they all came in with. Now, that's not to say that the higher vibrational children have it easy. They don't. We're seeing conditions like autism and ADHD within many children as these children try to exist within societal structures that are created and based within the lower frequencies, the lower baseline, and are not in alignment to their natural frequency or way of being. Now, one of the things that was shared in the transmission the other night was the fact that the baseline frequency of the Earth has been deliberately and artificially and unnaturally maintained at a lower frequency by this hive mind entrapment matrix programming. For change really is the only constant, and as a natural progression, the planetary frequency and consciousness would have naturally raised over time. However, it's been kept low through this entrapment, enslavement, control, manipulation programs, and the programs of lack, low self-worth, low self-esteem, etc. And we can see that now. We can see it clearly playing out in the manipulation of the financial markets and the overt manipulation and control that can be seen very clearly by some governmental structures, the educational structures, the medical structures that exist within society at this time. All of these manipulation and control patterns are now coming to light, as it were, because the baseline frequency of the Earth is shifting and lifting. And so that which has been hidden to the masses is now being able to come to light. We're now able to see the manipulation of, say, the gold and silver and other commodity prices, where, only those who were in the higher echelons of the control hive mind program had access and awareness to the plans and therefore were able to benefit it, where the masses were remaining in a state of perpetual lack and struggle. Everything's reflected, everything is a mirror. And that which is occurring within our internal landscape, we'll see playing out in the external. And everything that is occurring energetically within the unseen realms will eventually be mirrored in the physical. So what I see is this reversal of what it was like when the light workers came in the 30s all the way up to the 70s and 80s. So those who are in the majority then will be becoming the minority and will be feeling the shift in vibration, whether they're consciously aware of it or not. And they will be making choices. And for some, the choice will be, I don't want to raise my frequency. I don't want to traverse these paths of initiation. I don't have the energy to do it, and I really can't be bothered. whatever the thought, and it doesn't matter, there's no judgment at all. I come back to the journey of my father, who died of cancer in 2016. Now, he made a choice. He was given the opportunity through the incarnation of me within the family structure and the conscious awareness that I provided him during his lifetime, that there was a path of healing and that he could take that path and release himself from the dense programs and release himself from the energy that he was holding within his field, all of the anger and the hatred and the self-loathing that he held within his field. That he wasn't willing to walk that path. He chose, as it were, to leave this earth plane through the process of cancer. And, I respect his choice entirely. I respect everybody's choices. And so there will be many people who take this opportunity, for everything truly is an opportunity for us to experience something, who take this opportunity that's been provided by the universal selves to exit the earth plane and return to source. And there will be some who have taken the medical treatment and subsequently regret it. And, they may even have an awakening experience through the taking of it. And the larger part of their interdimensional existence within this incarnation may be deciding, well, actually, no, I do want to stay and I do want to walk one of these paths of initiation. And just like those who miraculously turn around other medical conditions, recover and come back to health and wellness. Because actually their decision to take part in the treatment may well be part of the path of earth initiation. So I don't see massive die-off, as it were, as it's been described. Yes, there may be a relatively large number of people who choose to leave the earth plane. But let's not forget that there are always a relatively large number of people who choose to leave the earth plane. Death is a part of life. Illness has been part of our incarnation experience for centuries. The majority of people on the planet have chosen to buy into the enslavement matrix programs, the hive mind programs, and to believe in things like gene theory, as it were, in terms of, illnesses being passed down through generations. And the concept that, if my family died of cancer, then I'm going to die of cancer. Because they've also bought into the lifestyle that's been sold to them through mainstream media, the government, the education structures, everything. All of the structures that relate to this hive mind enslavement matrix programming. So if we actually go back to the Matrix film, Neo was given the choice to take the red pill or the blue pill, to follow the white rabbit, as it were, and see beyond the matrix, to see it for what it is, programming. And in that seeing, you get to make different choices. You get to make choices that weren't necessarily there for you when you were completely caught up in it and enslaved by the program itself. Now, Spirit shared with me, I can't remember when, it was a while ago now, that awareness is the beginning and the end. It's the alpha and the omega. It's the beginning because with awareness, you have a conscious choice. With awareness, you get to choose to continue along this path or to do something different. And it's the end because awareness itself is the memory signature of you having cleared that programming, cleared that distortion, whatever it is. And so awareness is a place or a point of jubilation, of excitement, because it gives us that opportunity to make different choices and to be conscious, because that's what we came here to be. We are here to be conscious. And I know it was mentioned in the last transmission about petrification, and it's that idea of kind of living a life that is unconscious, living a life that is, walking sleep, as it were. So the majority of us have bought into the programmed idea of what food is. And, there's no judgment because we've all done it to some extent or other. The idea of what clean water is, the idea of what fresh air is. we've bought into all of these concepts and ideas that have been keeping us within this low vibration, maintaining the low vibration of the planet. So we've eaten the junk food and we've allowed ourselves to consume the copious amounts of sugar and chemicals within the processed substances sold as food. We've ingested into our divine matrix all of the chemicals in our clothing, our washing products, our personal products, in every aspect of our everyday life. And then in a way, we've kind of said yes to that. You know, the majority of people have said yes to it all and have therefore bought into this illness structure that leads to death. But there have always been some people that haven't, and there have been some who've exited the matrix, as it were, and have lived an organic and as clean a life as they can within this enslavement hive mind program. You know, they've stepped out of mainstream narrative and connected into their own inner guidance system. And many of you may have done that to some degree or other, as I have. You know, we've all, in a way, found God or enlightenment or a higher self, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter. And we've been guided to more natural, higher vibrational healing methods, modalities, and lifestyles, ways of being, and released a lot of the mental constructs and the emotional baggage, and have stepped out of, as much as possible, the physical toxic environment that the majority of people take for granted as normal life. And in doing so, we've raised the baseline frequency of the planet and started this process of dismantling the hive mind control programs for everybody. So no, I don't see a massive die-off. I don't see bodies in the street. I don't see groups of survivors going around taking people out of buildings, that kind of thing. I don't see that happening, but I do see a number of people making the choice or maintaining their choice to follow through with the entrapment enslavement program matrix, mental constructs of disease and lifespan and all that goes with it. And so some may take the paths of initiation and some won't, and all is perfect. And it's not for us to judge. It's not for us to force or govern anyone else's choice, just as it's nobody else's right to govern our choices or force us as living men and women to go along with their narrative. We'll all be making choices, and those choices will be perfect for each and every one of us. As was shared in the first part of the transmission on Wednesday, not all initiates pass their trials or tests. In the old mystery schools, the tests were really quite brutal, and not everyone made it through. And some passed away during the process because the process was so physically and mentally, emotionally demanding. It was beyond what they were capable of. And yet others made it. So we see a number of people who have exited the enslavement matrix programs, as it were, who haven't bought into the entrapment program and yet are still experiencing quite severe paths of initiation. And again, at a soul level, they may have chosen the path of earth, which incorporates physical changes, physical symptoms, as they become lighter, as they shift their physical vessel to contain more light. Now, that's not an easy process to undertake whilst in the physical form. So what I want to share in a few minutes, and I will take questions and I will take comments on what's been shared, is a healing invitation that came through from Spirit. And this is an invitation to integrate this path of initiation, to experience this path of initiation, whatever path of initiation that people are choosing to be on, with the utmost ease and grace. So has anybody got any questions? Anybody want to make any statements or anything before we, as it were, move on to the activation? Just pop them in the chat if you want to. No? Marvellous. Is that all clear to everybody? I mean, you know, it is a transmission as it's come through from source. And so it's either going to resonate with you or it's not. And as with all things, you know, if it doesn't resonate, let it go with love. And if it resonates, allow it to integrate and assimilate in your field. Lots to think about, still processing. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I've had the benefit, I suppose, of having an awareness over the last, 18 months or so, from my own perspective of what's been going on spiritually, but also having had this transmission downloaded and then kind of integrating it into my my field of awareness. Storis is saying, really great to hear. Maria's saying, can it be that we have initiations with fire? Yes. You're not just, you know, I mean, everyone's journey is going to be completely individual. And like I say, the majority of my initiations through life have been fire. But I've had earth. You know, I was paralyzed in 96, and there's been other initiations of earth that I've experienced. On the 1111 Gateway in 2019, I believe I had what's being called COVID in December 19 into January 2020. You know, again, we go through all of these different initiations, and certainly for me, I feel like I've been doing the initiation of water, you know, allowing my emotions to be owned and expressed over the last year. Well, what month are we in now? End of October, last 10 months or so. So yeah, we can be experiencing all of them at any given time, and we can be experiencing a number of them at the same time. Depending on different life phases. Well, I mean, yeah, depending on different life phases, depending on where you are in your journey, depending on, you know, how fluidly you processed one initiation, you may flow into another initiation quite smoothly and quickly. Some people may, as it were, get a bit of a spiritual timeout and have a bit of a breather. But everybody's individual path is their own individual path, so we're all going to experience it differently. Martha's asking, do I see the hive mind program being shattered so we can get to be free? I do, actually, yes. And I think that this is, I feel that this is the whole process that we are and have been as light workers in a way undertaking our whole existence, our whole life experience. We just haven't been aware of it to the extent. And I feel that we are, it's coming into our conscious awareness now, because we've raised that baseline frequency, because we've reached a certain point of the Earth's baseline frequency being raised sufficiently that which was hidden is now being seen. And of course, once you have an awareness of something, it's the alpha and the omega. You have a conscious awareness that there's a hive mind control manipulation program. Well, then you can consciously do something about it, and you can decode, as it were, your experiences or that which you see in the physical realm from that perspective of awareness. But then also it's the end, it's the memory signature of it already being cleared. So yes, absolutely, I do see that. And I've also asked, because I'm human, you know, am I going to experience freedom, true freedom, in my lifetime? And that answer was yes. Now, I don't know how long my lifetime is going to be, because if I completely and utterly detached from the concept of illness and lifespan, you know, I could live hundreds and hundreds of years. Who knows? You know, anything is possible. And that's the thing. I can't remember where I shared this. It might have been in one of the interviews that I've been on, but the majority of people have had a kyphosis, as it were, as in what is possible within the field of potentiality. You know, we've kind of had our heads locked in a downward facing position, and we've only been able to see the field of potentiality to a certain extent. So we've only been able to engage in this kind of amount of what is possible. We've had a limited perspective of what's possible. But actually what we're being asked now and what we're working towards and called to do is stand in the middle, as it were, of the whole football field and be able to look 180 degrees, peripheral vision, side to side, but also vertically, up and down. So to release this stiffness in our neck, this kyphosis, and actually get an absolutely full perspective of what is possible. That is what the field of potentiality is. And so there's going to be potentials that our ego can't even fathom, just can't get a grip on at all, because it hasn't been our reality up until this point, and because we've been kind of bent-necked and we've been focused on these lower possibilities. But now we're kind of like, we've had some physio, we've been to the chiropractor and we've loosened our neck up, and we're able to actually see, oh my goodness, actually I can live for hundreds of years if I want to. It's a possibility. Illness doesn't have to be a part of life. These are possibilities. So yeah, I do see it, and I have been told it's going to happen in my lifetime, but I can't say in this here and now how long I'm going to live. But let's hope we do see it really soon, because I'm getting a bit bored now of the last 18 months. Can we have cycles of initiation over and over again? Yeah, again, it's kind of like a spiral. We'll have a path of initiation, and then it's a bit like where we used to do the work and we used to kind of peel away the layers of the onion. We'll experience another layer of it, so it will be slightly different. It will have a different vibration. You'll be coming at it from a higher vibrational perspective, but it's still going to be a path of initiation of earth, air, fire, or water. Like I say, my whole life has been various different paths of fire, with a few paths of earth thrown in and some paths of air too. But yeah, of course, we can experience different cycles of those. How do you explain a teenager living from cancer? I'm struggling with this concept. A teenager leaving. Well, like I say, everybody's soul came in with an agenda, as it were. Now, somebody leaving early, as you and I would see it, it could be part of their own personal choice experience, or it could be that in their leaving, it enables someone else's journey. So it's part of somebody else's journey to experience that. So, for example, like my mum and dad's passing was very much part of their own individual journey, but it was also part of mine. Their passing was part of my journey in actually respecting and letting go of my need to jump in and be the rescuer and the savior. It was part of me honoring other people's journeys and paths. And so it's not as simple as, it's not fair that this person died so young, or, this happened to this person. Everybody's soul came in with a particular agenda, a particular set of experiences. And from a soul contract perspective, when you look at the energetic vibrations that we all individually came here to master, although we do hold all of them because we are all one and we are all part of the all that is. For example, in my chart, for the name that I chose to come in with, I've got 21-3, which is all about resilience. Therefore, I'm going to experience in challenge so that I can build the muscle of resilience. So I came here to have a challenging life. I didn't come here to have it easy. I've also got 9s all over my chart. And 9 is disempowerment and empowerment, standing in sovereignty. So again, that's been my whole life path. How do you master that? Well, you master standing in your sovereignty by knowing what it is not to. And so, you know, I came here to experience both. And so, you know, from a soul perspective, there's no judgment and there's no good, bad, right, wrong either. It's all an experience and it's all perfect. Susan says, very grateful for illumination, struggling after following guidance to experience really bad reactions from others and now shocking cold. Hard to know anymore what to do for the best after so much aggro. We can only do what is in alignment with ourselves and, you know, not, as it were, really being hard on ourselves or judging ourselves and the choices that we make, because every choice that we make in the moment is perfect. I mean, you know, it's really allowing ourselves to surrender to the experience and also our choice in how we react or respond to that experience, because it's all an opportunity for us to grow spiritually and evolve. So yeah. June says, maybe those that leave early do so that they can now reincarnate at high frequency. Absolutely, when they return. I mean, you know, this is it. We all chose to be here. I mean, sometimes I have gone, what was I thinking? But we did all choose to be here. And we all chose and like went, me, pick me. And, you know, felt really chuffed about the fact that we got to come here. So, yeah, it may be that, you know, people come for a short spell and then come out and come back in at a much higher frequency because, you know, their bit was done in this incarnation, but then they've come to be the leaders of New Earth, you know, they've come to be the ones that really embed the new structures. To come up with the new devices and the new ways of being, you know, who knows? Everybody's journey is sacred and everybody's journey is individual. What time are we at? 10 to 7. Okie dokie. If no one has any other questions, shall we move on to the activation? Are you all ready for the activation? Yeah, thumbs up. Got some thumbs up going on there. Yeah, brilliant. Okay. Okie doke. So, as I say, this activation is it's a healing invitation. And it's an invitation to integrate the paths of initiation with the utmost ease and grace, however that gets to look for us on an individual level. And so we're going to be opening it up. We're going to open up the collective space and we're going to hold space as an individual and as part of the collective consciousness of the planet, including the plant, animal, and mineral kingdoms. And as we allow ourselves this invitation to experience our own path of initiation, our own journey through this time, for it is a path and a period of initiation for all, and will be felt to a greater or lesser degree, we offer it to the collective as well, for we are all one. But as I said in the last transmission, the important aspect is experiencing yourself as an individuated divine spark and honouring yours and everyone else's individual process on their own sacred path. So that's why this is an invitation rather than an intervention, as it were. You know, we offer this invitation to ourselves and we offer this invitation to our wider selves, which incorporates all, the whole field of the collective consciousness. So for those who want to send healing, love and light to those who are struggling, to any light workers who are struggling, this is an opportunity to do so. And whether you directly send this invitation to a specific person, place or animal, or whether you just allow it to be a really open and broad invitation, just trust. It's perfect and there is no judgment. And as with all the activations, you may feel drawn to listening back to the activation again and again. And if you're guided to do that, know that that is also perfect. And you will receive a deeper, wider experience of the transmission and whatever is perfect for you to receive in that moment, and also whatever is perfect for you to provide the collective in that moment. Okay, so I'm just making sure everybody is muted. Marvellous. All right then. So I invite you all to just become comfortable in the space that you're in. And I invite you all to drop your awareness from your head down into your heart space, your heart field. Closing your eyes if you haven't already done so, and just allowing your awareness to expand within your heart field, connecting into that eternal flame, that individuated divine spark of the all that is that you are. And whether you see, sense, feel, or just know that it's there, its presence is there within your heart field, your eternal living light. And allowing yourself to expand into that frequency, that vibration, that energy. For the individuated divine spark of the all that is that you are is again in itself a representation of the multidimensional, interdimensional being that you are. For you truly exist in this moment, in all moments, throughout all frequencies, vibrations, dimensions, all the way up, as it were, to the pure source field, through the many layers of higher dimensional states, as the dragons, the unicorns, the angels, the archangels, the Elohim, the creator beings, all the way to the pure source field of creator consciousness, of pure divine love light, and all the way down into your physical being and down into the planetary aspects that you are. Yourself as planet Earth, Mother Earth, Gaia, Tara. And as the planetary aspects connected in through that golden crystalline web of light that connects all living consciousness, be it plant, animal, mineral, or human, you are connected to and experiencing yourself as this individuated divine spark within this incarnated form, but also connected through this golden crystalline web to all other life forms. For all truly is one. And just allowing yourself to connect in and expand. Allowing yourself to expand beyond the physical matrix. To expand beyond the influence of the entrapment and enslavement programs, the hive mind, and into your full, true and pure aspects of self as the all that you are. And as you connect in and expand in and allow in these aspects of your being into the energy of this eternal flame within your heart field, we call in the energies, the essences of grace, of peace, of love, and any other energies or essences that you feel drawn to connect with. Whether they be showing themselves to you as divine beings, as dragons, angels, or whether you just allow them to show themselves as the divine harmonic of sound or light. Allow all to be perfect. As you stand in this energy with this open invitation to receive the perfect healing frequencies, perfect higher vibrational frequencies of divine love light for you in this moment. As you allow yourself to receive this open invitation that you give yourself. For as you give, so shall you receive. To walk these paths of initiation, this period of initiation, with the utmost ease and grace, allowing yourself to fully activate your freedom codes, your codes of sovereignty, your codes of joy, of love, and self-governance. And allowing yourself to fully release from the influence and infiltration of the hive mind programs, the corruption and contamination, control and manipulation, entrapment and enslavement. Allowing yourself to be filled with these frequencies, these highest vibrational frequencies of divine love and light, in whatever way, shape, or form that they are being experienced by you, and allowing your field of light to open fully to this invitation in this now, and every now beyond. This open invitation to traverse this path of initiation and integrate the work of enlightenment and enlightened embodiment with the utmost ease and grace. Allowing whatever density to dissolve fully, to transmute and transform into pure divine love light. And whether you see, sense, feel or know that happening within your field of light, or whether you see, sense, feel or know the density, the lower vibrational energy being broken down and dissolved, so that it is able to lift up and out of your field of light, like wisps of grey smoke, returning up to the pure source field of light for transmutation. For energy is neither created nor destroyed. It merely changes shape and form, vibration and frequency. Just allowing yourself to fully let go of all connection, attachment and association that exists within your field of light to the hive mind and to the associated programs, patterns, mental constructs that have been and are overlaying your divine matrix, your divine structure, and allowing them to be completely removed, dissolved and disintegrated, and all trace of them removed from your cellular memory, your DNA, and your Akashic record. It matters not whether you are aware of these words or their meaning, just allowing the process of complete restoration of your divine structure as the individuated divine spark of the all that is that you are to take place. Allowing yourself the giving and receiving of this open invitation of ease and grace, of peace and love, of freedom and integrity. You may wish to internally and to yourself say yes, or I am ready. I accept ease and grace, peace and love, freedom and integrity. I am ease and grace. I am peace and love. I am freedom and integrity. And allowing yourself to fully embed and embody these vibrations, these frequencies into your individuated divine spark, into the eternal flame within your heart center, into all aspects of your multi-dimensional being, from the pure source field of light and love. the way down to your planetary self, your physical incarnation, and throughout the golden crystalline collective consciousness that you are. Allowing all to be perfect and in perfect timing. You can stay connected in this state, allowing this giving and receiving of this open invitation, allowing the full clearing and releasing, rebalancing, aligning and reharmonizing. Continue for as long as you are ready in this moment. For those who wish to return to their physical form, knowing that you can re-enter this space of clearing, realigning and healing at any time. For those who are ready to return to their physical form, just allow your awareness to draw back in. Allow your conscious awareness to land once again upon your heart field, your eternal flame, your individuated spark. Feeling the shift in frequency, the shift in energy within this sacred space. And allowing your awareness to come back into your heart center, within your physical form. Becoming aware of your heartbeat, your pulse, slow and steady, and your breath, and the gentle rise and fall of your chest and stomach as you breathe in and breathe out, knowing that these are all merely physical representations of your eternal connection to the pure source field of divine love light that you are. Allowing yourself to become aware of your physical body in the space that it's in, bringing movement back into muscles, fingers and toes, and with a smile falling upon your face, allowing yourself to be filled with gratitude for this open invitation that you have given yourself and allowed yourself to receive. And when you are ready, only when you are ready, opening your eyes and welcome back. So some people are saying, thank you, blissful attunement. There's a couple of blissfuls actually. Oh, that's nice. Is it normal to keep getting goosebumps during an activation? I don't know if you, well, you won't, you have your eyes closed, but anybody who's seen me doing any healing will see me jerking and shaking things all over the place. It's normal to experience anything. What is normal? Yeah, goosebumps, tingles, changes in temperature. I experience judders and shudders. It's as if my hair's standing on end. Suddenly I just feel really like I've completely expanded and I'm holding so much more energy than I'm used to on a daily basis. You know, you can feel all sorts of things. Yeah, the thing is just allowing, not you know, allowing your body to do whatever it needs to do. I mean, you know, when we're connecting in with these activations and attunements, we don't even need to necessarily stay still. You know, if you feel the need to move and shake and, you know, whatever it is, then just do it, just allow, because everybody experiences energy in a different way and everybody experiences the release of blockages of energy in a different way. And I know when I'm doing certain energy work with people, I yawn a lot. You know, it's a release, it's a shift, it's a movement of energy. So whatever you're being guided to do, whatever your body wants to do, just completely allow it. So lots of thank yous, just what people needed. Oh, that's nice. Well, I hope it completely changed your vibration for the better, Louise. No, it's my pleasure, Sandra, to offer these gatherings and transmissions. As with all my work, I only do things when I'm guided to do it. I never force anything to come through. And really that is my philosophy on life and working in conjunction with our inner guidance. You know, if we're forcing anything, then we're in the lower vibrations of the masculine energy. So as and when I'm guided to do so, I'm more than happy to provide free content. And this certainly, you know, for whatever reason, wanted to be shared collectively. So, yeah. And I was saying, constantly getting goosebumps. And in the last activation, what I often say to clients who have sessions or book sessions with me is that quite often I find people are already doing the shifts. Because remember, time isn't linear, before the actual session. And so sometimes people will say to me, oh my God, I had a dreadful day or dreadful night, everything was coming up for me. It's like, well, yeah, it will do, because the minute you accepted the invitation, as it were, to join in this live transmission and this activation, an aspect of you knew what you were going to be receiving, and so would already be working with the energy, even though in linear time it hadn't actually happened yet, but all time is in this now. So in each moment we're holding the past, present and future. So that's not unusual. Knee pain still with me, praying for relief. Tune into your knee pain and see what you're guided with. I had incredible pain in my left hand side, and I was guided last night to get I've got quite a large sphere of carnelian and quartz, and I slept with it. I slept with it placed just by that point, and I had no idea why. Even though I'm a trained crystal healer and I've written a diploma in crystal healing, I cannot remember for the life of me what carnelian does. And yet I just went with the flow. I was guided to sleep with it by my side, and so I did, and I woke up feeling 80% better. I'm still aware slightly of the niggling sensation, but it's nothing like it was. So, tune in to your body, tune in, let it talk to you, let it tell you what it needs, allow yourself to be guided to do the most random things. As I was, it was literally just on my bookshelf, and before I went to bed, my hand reached out and grabbed it. I was like, okay, fair enough. But yeah, just go with your own flow and your own inner guidance. Okay. June says she felt vibrations, she felt the ground fall away and was floating. That's lovely. Something shifted because you feel different. Marvelous. Most of your life you've been walking fire and earth, and now it's water and air. Yeah, doesn't mean to say that they're going to be any less intense. But just go with the flow. The more we surrender to these paths of initiation, the more easeful and graceful they will be. But again, the activation is there for anybody to listen in. Lovely to be involved in this mass shift. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I feel absolutely blessed to have so many people connecting with it as well. And so please, feel free to share this with anybody that you feel may benefit from it, because we're all part of this. We're all part of the collective shift, as I was saying in this transmission. Everything that you have been doing up until this point, everything that you continue to do, whether you join in with these mass kind of events or you just, I say just, there's no just about it, or you're doing the work individually, whether you're consciously aware of it or not, we are all doing the work. The more we start allowing ourselves to let go of the mental constructs and the emotional blockages, the more we allow ourselves to step into our truth and to fully own ourselves as an energetic being, and recognize that we exist multidimensionally, interdimensionally at the same time. If we're doing the work for the collective, we are the shift. People talk about the event and expect it to be this external thing, whether they see it as solar flares or whether they see it as, some big happening. We are the event. The event is now. This is it. We're all part of it. And this is, in effect, what we came here for. We all stuck our hands up as souls. We all went, pick me, because in previous lifetimes and all the experiences that have gone before, we've got the toolkit. I know it may feel pretty intense at times, and I know we may feel as though we're pushed to the edge of what we're capable of experiencing, but we have literally got the toolkit that makes it possible for us to be here at this time. We've got the big girl pants. We've got them big enough for us all to kind of put on and pull up. And, we just need to trust in ourselves, really, connect in with all of that which we hold inside of ourselves. So, yeah. Night times have been interesting and busy. Absolutely, they have. I mean, I've had hardly any sleep because I keep waking up in these transmissions. But yeah, night times where the veil is thinnest. Yeah, and a lot of people will be doing astral work in their dream time and things, whether you're consciously aware or not. Okay, right. Unless anybody has any other comments or questions or anything, then I'm going to call this session to a close, and I will see what comes through in divine timing, and I will put it out there for you all to join and share. And yes, the replay will be available. This will be available on YouTube. I think as soon as this transmission ends, it processes for a bit, but then it's available again. But I will edit the transmission and put some lovely music to the activation. All right, so much love to you all. So much love to you all. Go well. From my massively open heart to you all, I send you so much love and the utmost ease and grace for the integration of this transmission, and also for your ongoing paths of initiation. We're all going through it, myself included. Oh, lovely dog. I've just seen your dog, Julie. So yeah, I could stay here all night saying goodbye. But yes, I will end this transmission. Take care, much love to you all, and I shall see you all again soon. Bye.